It's an extraordinary business, the music business. And those of us involved in it are very, very fortunate and privileged, because we meet the most extraordinary people on a daily basis. Polyglots, great artists, great singers, interesting people, rather like the House of Commons used to be, if you take my meaning. Lise Davidsen came up earlier. This is just one example. A few years ago at Glyndebourne, I argued my way into Ariadne of Naxos. And there was a young lass sitting in a tracksuit in the corner for the first few days, didn't do anything. And the rest of us who knew one another wondered who she was. As you will know, Ariadne has little to do in the first act of Ariadne of Naxos, so she meandered around for a while. And came a day, number 4 or 5, when she decided to open her gob. And I started in this business 57 years ago, in 1968, 69. I've never heard anything like that. I heard Gerald and Finley, Alfredo Kraus, John Vickers, and a whole host of other brilliant, brilliant people who could astonish you with what they did. And you would leave a dressing room even, you know, with a small role in Tristan and Isolde, as I had. I used to sing Melot, and I used to sing Marullo in Rigoletto, and Morales in Carmen. The 3 M's, major pinpoints in a career. And I was sitting there biding my time through the 12 hours of Tristan and Isolde, but became aware of something extraordinary happening. And one or two of us in the cast said, we really ought to go to the wings and see what's going on. And what was going on was an incandescent John Vickers delivering his notes in the second act of Tristan and Isolde. I've never heard anything like it. I did the same for Alfredo Kraus in Faust, because the skill and control that that man had in what he did and what he specialized in was just extraordinary and a model for everyone. That's what's been amazing about this business. And to have this, I feel a very tiny, tiny, tiny prawn in a sea of greatness. And I've been an onlooker to some really extraordinary events. Lise Davidsen, on that 5th day, chose to get up, loosen off her tracksuit a little bit, and open up. I get goosebumps now thinking about it. I'd never heard anything like that. And I've given you a list of names, but I'd never heard anything like that. She was extraordinary. The voice, where voices finish there, hers began. And it went on and on into wonderful, wonderful Albert Hall organ-like tones. It was just extraordinary what she could do. And it was a privilege, yet again, to be sharing a stage with someone as gifted as she was, and is, even to giving birth to children. I have people to thank, far too many, as you can imagine, after such a long time. Jerry, I don't know how you remembered all those names. That's a real gift that you have earlier on to remember everyone concerned with your recording. I take my hat off to you. I've only got to remember 2. I've been incredibly well looked after for 30 years in this business, for the last 30 years, by Sue Spence. And Sue, sweetheart, thank you very much. I'll always appreciate it. You're wonderful. And even longer than that, the lady sitting next to her is my wife. And our children, we had a story, both of us, either side of when we got together. So there are children concerned. They grew up and moved away, which left us free. What should we do? We traveled the world together. And it's been wonderful, Jeannie, love. It will always be wonderful. You've been every bit as big a part in this journey and this life as I've tried to make it. And I'm so grateful for it. Thank you very much. And thank you, Gramophone magazine, for giving me this award. Thank you.